Welcome back to another video. So today we are doing another tier list. I couldn't help myself but do another one. So this one is a tier list of every northern train. This is from the point of view of a train spotter because I have never been on any other northern train apart from a 319. Obviously yesterday was about all trains I've been on. A few things I noticed, obviously the laptop noises in the background and probably there might be other background noises. I do apologise if this happens. I cannot do anything about it. I will do my best to talk about what I think about trains. Like, I've seen clips of them, I know what they're like, so I'm going to do my best to judge it. So here we go. So they're all in numerical order. So there's obviously a couple of renumbered trains, or trains that have been retired, sorry. So you can see here. So we're going to start with the class 142. So the 142 never actually made it to the new livery. I think it's retired in 2019ish. Very sad I never got to see one. They looked like very nice trains, although from an actual commuter's point of view, they did not look comfortable. They looked bouncy, they looked annoying, and they looked run down at the end of their life. So, but as a train spotter, I do think they were very nice trains. I think I would have loved to have seen one. If I can ever go to Heritage Railway and see one, I will definitely try. But I think because of the train spotter, the train commuter's point of view, from what I've heard, they don't look like they were very good. So I'm going to put it B tier, just because it brings it down from A and S. Next up is its counterpart, the class 144. I'm not going to say much because it's pretty much the same train. The only thing I'm going to do is put it higher up in A tier because I prefer that design on the 144 and 143 over the design of the 142, just because it's a bit nicer, looks a bit more boxy, and I don't know, just looks more friendly than the 142. It looks a bit less gnarled almost, if you kind of get what I mean. Next up is the class 150, and I've got both variants. So we've got the dash 1 first. The dash 1, to be honest, I prefer, or slash 1, I prefer over the slash 2, because I think it's more unique, because the 150 dash 2 just looks like a 153, 155, 156 and 158, and I think if you asked someone who didn't know anything about trains to find a difference between those four, they couldn't tell you, or those five. But the 150 dash 1 is pretty different. The design, I mean, obviously the trains are pretty much the same, but I prefer the design of that over the 150/2. So I'm not going to say much about either. I'm going to put that one in A tier and just put that one in B tier because the design brings it down a bit. In fact, I'm actually going to put that C tier. The design brings that one down. Next up, we've got the class 153, the dog box, and I think I really like 153s. They're very similar. They operate in the same routes as the 158, or the same area, and they're on so many companies like Transport for Wales. They've been on GWR. They also have their very iconic Highland line in Scotland. But I have never ridden one, and I would like to ride one, but I don't understand if it would be comfortable to have two 153s on a long journey in Wales, especially in the winter. It would be quite cold. But no, as a train spotter, 153s are a really nice train, and I would not hate to see one. So I'm going to put them in B tier. Next up is the class 155, operating for Northern again, because they only operate for Northern, since there's only 7 of them in the world. As a fun fact for you, because they were the train that the 153 was experimented on, where they cut them in half and just had loads of single units running around, because they thought that it would be cool if they had more trains running on different routes. And I think it's a good idea, but I do wish they had done it on a different train. I mean, obviously they tried it on the 156 with the class 152, which infamously is now just non-existent. But I think they should have kept some more 155s around, because it's helpful to have more capacity rather than having trains running around on routes where people, who knows, might become popular. I mean, obviously probably quieter routes for a single unit, but 155s are nice. I'm going to put them in A tier because I think they're better, just because of the fact that the 153 is single unit and they're double, and it's pretty cool and it's helpful. More capacity, even though you can double them up. Next up is the class 156, another train that operates infrequently on other companies like ScotRail, and they've obviously operated for East Midlands Railway and their iconic red and blue and purple and white livery. But Northern 156s, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of them. I think that as a train, 156s, I'm not really sure if I'm a huge fan of. They obviously operate on the Highland Explorer, and they operate for other companies, but I feel like they're like a bit too common around. Like they're just kind of boring. Like the 158s and like trains like that bring a bit more, it feels like a bit more modernness and comfortableness, and the 156 just, I don't know, it just feels like it's got a little tang of oldness. I mean, the modern livery on it looks quite fine and it makes it look better, but not I'm not a huge fan of it, so I'm going to put it in D tier. Next up, the 158. I'm just going to put it straight in S tier. There's not much to say. I love the 158, and I mean, the livery on it I think is phenomenal. Like, the livery for Northern is beautiful, like the blue and the white, and even before the past liveries with the purple and the white and the two different shades of purple, just, it's iconic. I mean, I'd love to have seen that livery in person. But yeah, 158, just superior loco in my opinion. End of. There's not much else to say. I mean, you saw it in the video yesterday. And then you come to its counterpart for Scotland, the 170. Just going to put it straight in F tier. As I said yesterday, if I could put it any lower, I would. I do not like 170s. If I as a train spotter, they're fine. I've seen a couple of them at York for Northern, and I've seen a few, obviously lots of them for ScotRail. But because I can judge this one as a train commuter, I'm going to. I hate 170s. They just do not run for me as a train. Like, the noise is unbearable. You can barely hear anything. They're dirty, they're uncomfortable, they're old. And especially, one thing I complain about is the fact that they operate like 3-hour journeys from like Glasgow to Inverness and Aberdeen. There's get to that point where at Stirling, when they're not even like, they're still like ages away from their destination, and you actually are standing at that point. It's just unbearable. I think that's why they need to replace them, or stop running them. Well, not replace them, but stop running them on that service, because the Intercity 43s need to stay, because they're more capacitated and they're able to do faster speeds. So yeah, the 170 is in F tier and is just stuck there. Now, got a class 195, another train I've never been on. I've seen them, and I have seen the interior, and I honestly think that if I ever go on one, I think I'll like it, because they look comfortable, and they do look like they're modern and clean. However, as a train spotter, they're quite boring and basic. Like, they've got a basic engine sound and a basic horn, and they're not very exciting. I mean, the cab looks quite nice, and it does look modern, but just quite basic trains. So I'm going to put them in D tier with the 156. Next up, we've got the only Northern train I've ever been on. I should not be judging this. The class 319. 319s, for the 2 times that I went on them, were okay. They were average. I know I rang them praises yesterday, but I rethought, and I think they weren't. I was a bit too kind on them. As a train spotter, I often love like the old electric trains, and I do like 319s from a train spotting point of view. But from a commuting point of view, they're not ideal for journeys. And I mean, they obviously served a long time, so they have been popular. I mean, they're good on like commuter routes or like shuttle routes, as like trains like the 320 and 318s are used for ScotRail. But like, I don't think they're perfect for all service. I mean, mainly obviously because they were quite old at that stage. But like, if they were in more modern, like a modern era when they were modern at the time, they would have been better. So I'm going to put them in D tier. I know I've dropped them slightly, but next up we've got Dusty Bin, the class 321 in the blue and red Northern livery. I don't know if this is Greater Northern or not. I apologise if I have got this wrong, but I'm going to judge them anyway. I'm never actually sure what line 321s were operated on for Northern, because they were gone quite a long time ago. But I think I do like 321s. I like them in 320s. I think they're better as over 320s because of their more capacity. Also, there's an extra carriage, and the noise in them is fantastic. They're just very pretty. I'm glad that Varminus Rail has kept a few of them on the West Coast Main Line. I would really like to see them at some point. And obviously, like, they've been like retired. Last operator, Greater Anglia, last one. So I like the 321s. They're very nice as a train spotter. But as a commuter, I don't know if I would fully like them. As I just said, I do not like 319s because they're old. So I'm going to put the 321 just because it's a bit better. No, I'm going to put it D tier because I think it's the same design sort of level as the 319. Next up, the 322. You're going to have to tell me in the comments. I really apologise. You're going to have to tell me what the difference is between a 321 and a 322, because to me they look identical, unless it's like bi-mode or something. I'm going to put 322 just in D tier as well, because I think they're pretty much the same as the 321s, and I never saw one, but they look quite nice as the same as the 321. Next up, 323. Northern is now officially the last operator of 323s because West Midlands Railways retired them after a long era since 1994. To be honest, I thought 323s were a relatively new train, so I was actually quite shocked when I saw they'd been operating since 1994. Because I think I'm still kind of uneducated on trains in general. I need to educate myself a bit more. I do like 323s. They have a nice engine sound. They look like a racing car. They're a bit like 365s with their engine sounds. Train spotter point of view, 323s, I don't think they've done much wrong. Like, they haven't done much wrong, and I don't know what they're like as interior wise, but I think for 323, it's a solid C tier. Next up, we've got the Class 331, the electric version of the 195. I only seen one 331, and it was at Preston, and honestly they're pretty similar to the 195, except they're electric, so they're better for the environment and probably have a better ride because they're quieter, but they're basic again. They've got the same basic horn and design, but their noise is actually quite nice, and to be honest, the acceleration is pretty good. I think CAF have made some exceptional accelerating trains, because I've seen clips of 195 accelerating and they're pretty good. So I'm going to put the 331 on D tier as well, just because similar. In fact, I'll actually put it next to the 195. I think I'm going to do it more ranking wise, where the trains will go in order on ranking. So for that reason, the 144 is going to be ahead. Has any trains have changed? No, I'm happy with it. Actually, the 156 drops all the way to the back. So yeah, that's the order in D tier, what I'd put them in. Just switch them around a bit more, make them more in order. There you go. I'll put that away. 1595 is there. Right, there you go. So there's the order. No, there. That's the order I'd put them in for, exactly. So I'll do that a bit more often. Penultimately, we've got the Fishbowl, the Class 333. 333s are pretty uncommon as well, like the 155s. I really like 333s. They only operate to Leeds and I think Skipton and a couple other stations, but they should be used more often. They're very cool. They've got a cool modern design like other trains like the 195 and 331. And they have they're very cool. They just look really fantastic. They look like they've come out of another country. They probably have to. It's probably built in another country, but I just feel like they're out the future a bit, and the design is just immaculate. And I think it's just a cool logo. Look a bit bug-eyed. And they've actually been nicknamed Fishbowl because of it, and it's a massive dome head. So I ring praises out to the 333s, and I'm going to put them in A tier. And I'm not gonna put them ahead. I'll leave the 333 at the end of A tier. Which brings us finally to the Class 769. I think it's the bi mode of the 319, and I think a 319 with a diesel power that's pretty cool. I don't know what the diesel sounds like. I think they've been retired now. I'm not sure. I know Transport for Wales had them, and I'm pretty sure they've retired them too, because I saw a recent drag ROG did. But 769s are quite cool as well, like the 319s. I'll probably put them higher than a 319 because they're 319. The designs are nice, the sounds are nice, the interiors are okay. So there's not much to fault about them. I don't know if they've ever broken down, but they have very nice sounds. So I'm going to put the 769 in B tier. And there you go. Look at all the trains bunched up, and then you got the 170 just stuck at the edge and the 158 on the other end. So that's my complete tier list. I'm looking to see if any changes I would make. I think a couple I'm going to make. I would bump the Class 144 up to S tier. I'm going to bump the 321 up to C tier as well as the 322. I'm going to demote the 156 to E tier. There's a bit of a controversy. And any other changes? I don't think so. So yeah, that's my completed tier list. That's the final tier list of Northern and the trains that they have operated with. So I'm hoping to maybe make another one at some point. I'm a bit busy, so I'm not sure if I will. If I ever get a free weekend, I definitely will. train spotting wise, I don't think there's much coming up, apart from maybe something this weekend, but I'm not 100% sure. I think there's a test train, but I don't know if I'll go out. I'm also hoping to go into the West Coast Main Line in February. Hopefully, might even get to Hemel Hempstead or Bedford. Maybe even collaborate with Finn. I'm hoping it's just going to be not much content pouring out right now. I apologise, but if I can get anything like this where I have time and I'm able to film something like this, I definitely will. So that's my complete tier list for Northern trains. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this second tier list video. As I said, I'll probably post one soon. I need to come up with an idea. If you would like me to do a big one this weekend where I rank every train that I've spotted, which I've been considering, please let me know or comment below yes or like the video, and I will take that as a sign, and I will definitely 100% film that at some point whenever I get the time, because I'll need a lot of it for that kind of video, and I'll need a lot of water to be narrating for that long. So thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure. I might do ScotRail next, because ScotRail, the only thing is ScotRail doesn't have as many trains as Northern, as you can see. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll see you all next time for the next tier list video, or the next model video, or the next whatever video. See you later.